You're listening to the Rewatchables 1999 from Luminary Media. I'm your host, Bill Simmons. I'm here with Amanda Dobbins and Juliet Littman. This is what I like to call quiet time.
I'm the only person you can't have and it kills you.
She was the kind of girl who had men wrapped around her fingers.
Everybody loves me, and I intend to keep it that way.
But someone new
Have we met? I don't think so.
I'm completely infatuated with her.
is about to unravel all her plans.
You're in love with her. You don't love me anymore.
I just can't take your games.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, and Reese Witherspoon. Cruel Intentions, rated R.
All right, so we've somehow managed to do it twice in a row. We did American Pie last week on this feed, and now another movie that has aged inappropriately, confusingly, inexplicably.
Wow, what a 1-2. That's amazing.
Let's start here. Is it okay that I still love this movie and I enjoyed it? Is it okay?
I'm gonna
Because I
say
feel like it is.
It's okay. It's okay, because I did too.
Great.
And I have a lot of questions about what I was feeling at the time, but we can have nostalgia for something, even though it's wildly inappropriate.
Here's the thing. I don't litigate backwards, ladies. The past is the past. I just can only worry about the person I am now and the people we're all going to be. This movie happened.
It did.
It's adorable. It's a nice little time capsule of life in 1999. It catches Reese and Ryan
Oh man.
at the peak of their relationship. Very nostalgic for that. Sarah Michelle Gellar and just the heat check of a IMDb. And great soundtrack. And I stand by it.
So many likable people except for Ryan Phillippe. Everyone's super
When,
likable.
Yeah.
when do we get to do that?
Let's hold it for a
Okay.
second.
All right.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
this is a new type of movie. It's a movie with teenagers based around a bet somebody made about trying to sleep with a girl. Nobody's ever
new.
done this before. It's a totally new formula. I don't know. I didn't know if it was going to work. And guess what? It backfired.
Yeah.
And she found out. And it
Yeah.
went badly. Yeah.
One of two from 1999. She's All That. It's also the bet about sleeping with a girl.
This was just the terrible Netflix movie my daughter just made me watch with Noah Centineo.
The perfect date.
Yeah, it was a variation of
Yeah.
that where it's always somebody's hiding something. And they didn't count on falling for the person as they were hiding the secret or they were lying
Right.
about something. And then the person finds out and then they have to win them back. And usually they do.
I guess 10 Things I Hate About You is not a bet. It's also a 1999 movie which revolves around incentivization for sleeping with someone.
Right.
And then she finds out. But in the end, they were in love. But it was just for money?
I guess so.
Yeah, I actually don't remember
Well,
that. but-
it was so that Larissa Oleynik's character could
Yes.
go to the prom.
Oh,
Basically.
right. Okay.
It was
Yeah.
like a deal broker. Also
Got it.
based on Shakespeare, gets a pass.
Okay, true. I mean, well, this is technically,
Yeah.
we should point out
High
that this
French.
yes, Les Liaisons Dangereux. There we go.
Well, and also this movie comes out, I'm going to say 9 years after Dangerous Liaisons, 10 years.
Oh,
That was out when I was in college. That was 89 or 90. Glenn Close, Uma Thurman, Malkovich. That's a classic movie that was a big deal when it came out.
yeah.
And was really well respected, did well at Oscar time. So like 8-9 years later, they decided we're gonna do the teenage version of
Mhm.
this. And my
What could go
reaction at the
wrong?
time, and I was still in my 20s, was I'm in.
Well,
When does it come out?
why aren't you talking about how much you love Michelle Pfeiffer and how that probably colored your view of this?
Well, because just even mentioning Dangerous Liaisons, I briefly blacked out. Because she's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And she was great in that movie, Throwing 100 Miles an Hour.
Yeah.
I saw this movie with my friend John Hopp in San Francisco during the day.
Okay.
On the Friday when it came out because we loved Reese Witherspoon and Sarah Michelle Gellar and we liked Dangerous Liaisons and we had time to kill
Sure.
and we just went and we were totally satisfied.
Why were you in San Francisco?
I was visiting my friends.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was visiting that same time I went to my first Warriors game, that same trip. It was a great trip.
What a trip.
We went to
yeah.
Vegas. It was a great way. We threw in a little Cruel Intentions. It was great. This was this teen renaissance time
Mm-hmm.
that if we're putting in the context of 1999 and that whole era, there was no Rat Pack. This was not called the Rat Pack or the Teen Pack or anything, but this was kind of a pack. They dipped into, the I Know What I Did last summer I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Party of Five's going on. Scream. A lot of good-looking, talented actresses. People trying to take advantage of this, that this is what people wanted to see on dates. Kids in high school, kids sneaking into R-rated movies. And it all comes to fruition with this movie. This is the perfect movie if you're like 15 in high school
Mm-hmm.
in 1999, and this comes out, and you're like, I'm sneaking into the movie theater tonight. I'm buying a ticket for something else, and then we're going to sneak into Cruel Intentions.
Guess who was 15 in 1999?
And you did this.
Yeah. I actually don't remember if I snuck in. I think that,
You might have just bought the ticket?
well, no, I was definitely too much of a goody-goody to be buying a ticket to an R-rated movie before I was 17. Also in Atlanta, they were stricter about it. I don't know. I think I probably did this on VHS. I think that is because then you could watch it in a controlled setting, and the parents weren't as nervous about that. And I've also seen it enough.
That was a fun era in its
Yeah.
own right.
Sure.
So Blockbuster, what are
Yeah.
you renting?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've seen it a lot of times, which leads me to believe that there was kind of a rewinding aspect to it. I mean, it became a cable movie at some point, but I think
This had a
was
huge
definitely-
cable run.
But this was definitely like I watched this movie a lot in high school, which is really troubling in retrospect.
I like, so you know how much I respect Amanda Dobbins of
Sure.
The Ringer. My daughter has the same philosophy about being afraid to sneak into R-rated movies, that there's some sort of moral ambiguity about it.
Yeah.
Whereas my son would just
I think
do
also,
anything.
I saw Jerry Maguire in the theaters with my parents, and I was sitting next to my mother during that sex scene.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I never wanted to go back.
That was
I was
it.
like, I will never see an R-rated movie in a theater again. It's over. Parent or no parent. Never again.
What's the worst R-rated movie you saw in the theater with your parents?
Extremely clear answer. My father and I, before going to
Oh, no.
Shabbat services on a Friday evening,
Oh, no.
saw He Got Game together,
Oh,
and it was horrible.
Oh, God.
wow.
It was rough.
Wow.
I saw Officer and a General with my stepdad and my mom in like 1982, and that has like a big sex scene
Huge.
with Richard Gere
Yes.
and Deborah Winger. And
Yeah.
I thought my stepdad, like his jugular vein was going to come out of his neck. Yeah, we've all had those moments.
Yeah.
Why is this movie rewatchable, Julia Libman?
I think at this point, it's shocking that it was like released
It's
in
shockingly
theaters.
rewatchable.
And also you're just like, wait, this was a movie that was really popular? And then, like I said, everyone in it is so likable. It's like exciting to see the kind of the origin story of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair and Reese Witherspoon. Also, just some great musical cues. Everything
Yes.
that like surrounds the movie is really good, and then the actual plot and some of like the like actual movie making is so absurd that
Yeah.
it's a great formula of actually well done and so unbelievable that you have to keep watching.
Yeah.
See, the music is the key to this movie, and I think that's why it's rewatchable.
Oh,
It's
wow.
The soundtrack, the actual theme music, the beats all come along. It's basically a long music video with some acting. And they try really hard with the acting, but the music is what endures, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
There's also some sex in there, which when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
15 years
And a
old,
lot of
is
dry
really
Oh, yeah.
humping
important.
as well.
Yeah. I mean, I do think I was trying to think as a young person, this has the whole like, oh, is this what like cool older kids do appeal
Yeah.
to it? And also because it's set on the Upper East Side in New York City, which if you don't grow up in New York, that's kind of like a glamorous world that you want to know more about. So, it is kind of like you feel like you're stealing an adult movie and you get to watch it when you're young, even though technically it's made for teens. Though that is questionable now.
I felt like it was made for adults and teens.
Yeah.
You're like basically 35 and under because it's really R.
It's extremely odd.
Yeah.
There's Sarah Michelle Gellar really dials it up.
I was in 7th grade, and I distinctly remember the conversations about whose parents will be taking them to Cruel Intentions and like whose won't. And there was one movie theater on 68th and Broadway where there was like an upstairs balcony and then a downstairs. And there was a lot of people who were like, my parents will be upstairs and I'll be downstairs. So you could like separate your seating. But like I was young for it, but people went to see it in theaters. I'm pretty sure I did.
There's the naughty teen R-rated movie is kind of a tradition because like Fast Times at Ridgemont High was like
Right.
that.
Mhm.
And then I think Superbad was like that for the late
Yeah.
2000s. That movie really pushed the envelope.
Great movie.
And if you were 13, you weren't supposed to see Superbad, but if you were 13, you wanted to see Superbad.
Right.
Right.
So this is one of those. I don't think we can understate the moment in 1999. Well, let's start with Reese.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Reese, I love to bring basketball terms in the podcast as
Mhm.
much as I can. Reese was high lottery pick from really day one.
Okay.
We're all scouting her from super early from Man on the Moon. She was in Freeway, Fear, Twilight, Pleasantville. And when she was in Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire, which was the year before, a big part of the marketing of that movie was like, these are going to be the two of the biggest actors we have.
Mhm.
And we're catching them now in this really weird movie. But you would have bought stock in Reese and you would have kept buying it from, I would say, 94, 95 on.
Mhm.
Fear was kind of her
Fear's the roller
Commercial.
coaster, right?
with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
That was the one where she's marketed as the lead and that movie actually made money and did well.
right.
But I mean, I didn't know if I thought she was going to win the Oscar,
Love
which I'm
Walk
still
the
a little
Line.
surprised by.
Well, I also love Walk the Line, but this is the year, so you've got Cruel Intentions, and then Election is also this year.
Right.
And at the end,
But
of
we didn't know about
No,
Election.
but at the end of 1999, it's much clearer her range.
But she's
and-
an A+ lister.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we
She-
didn't know that, but
No.
I would have bet on it though, is my point.
Okay.
Because she was like just really good actress,
Mhm.
attractive, looked different, carried herself differently than everybody else. It just seemed like there was a lane for her.
She definitely, I think to your point, like Cruel Intentions, she's allowed to carry herself differently than the other women in the movie. Like even Christine Baranski, she's way more normal. Like
Yeah.
she was on a totally different track. And then like looking at her IMDb, she makes a huge leap after these two movies. She goes
Yeah.
from playing like teenagers to like straight up adult roles. Like great agenting. Whoever
Mhm.
did that for her. Really impressive.
Couple facts I found out about Reese. Real first name is Laura, which I
Mhm.
didn't know. Laura Witherspoon just doesn't work as well.
Agree.
No?
So, yeah, I totally agree. Southerners, they tend to go by their middle name, but like
Yeah.
just make it the first name.
Refused the lead role in Scream.
Hmm.
Interesting career what if. Is
Yeah.
it smart?
Well,
So she does Freeway, Fear, Twilight, and Pleasantville. Would you rather see her in Fear or Scream?
Fear now, right? I mean, that's just hilarious. I just also think if you're in Scream in 96, you get grouped into and then you do Cruel Intentions, you're like the teen movie star. She's kind of locked in that way.
Well, Fear was a teen movie, though.
Yeah, but like this ensemble nature of Scream and it being
Yeah.
such a phenomenon and all of those like people, we now associate them with Scream and it's kind of like hard to move past it. So I think especially,
It was hard for Nev Campbell to move past
yeah,
it.
that's the
Totally.
thing.
But also, maybe she made bad choices. I don't know. I guess none of those people really had great careers
Also
after.
passed out Urban Legend in 1998.
That was a
Mm.
bad movie.
The movie that I thought she was going to be a star was Freeway with Kiefer Sutherland, which
Mm.
was like a batshit crazy, hard to explain movie that was on cable a lot for like a year, and it's like, what is this? And and she's just really good in it. And I was not surprised when she became a huge star. Not taking credit for it. I think a lot of people were predicting it.
You
but
made Reese.
thank God. If I hadn't believed, so she's dating Ryan Felipe.
Philippi.
Philippe.
It's been a lot.
Philippe.
It's Philippi. It's been 20 years
Philippi.
of having to say Philippi, even though it shouldn't be
Ryan
said that way.
And he convinces her to be in the movie
Mhm.
because I'm going to step on half-ass internet research.
Oh, great.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to save who they wanted to play before they
Oh.
backed out, and suddenly they didn't have a lead. He was dating Reese Witherspoon, Roger Cumble, the guy who made the movie. Took her out to dinner. We ended up getting drunk. I literally got down on my knees and begged her, "This is Cumble. Please, it'll only be 15 days of shooting. You'll be great." And Ryan Felipe is like, "Come on, we'll do a movie." And then she got talked into it.
That's
And that's how she's in
beautiful.
it.
Yeah.
You're gonna love who they wanted in the movie and backed out on. I'm gonna save it.
Okay.
But
Can't
that
wait.
started one of my favorite celebrity relationships, and the relationship that created the Reese Ryan role that I made
Ooh.
many years
Yes,
ago.
that's true. Though I was going to say, does that mean that it's one of your favorite relationships, or do you
I think it's a very influential relationship.
influential
sure.
is true?
They started exactly at the same point in their careers, like for success,
Mm-hmm.
and then this movie they rose.
Mm-hmm.
Still nobody's on top. Then election happened. She gets a little higher, and then boom, Sweet Home Alabama, all that stuff. All of a sudden, she's an A-lister.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fine. Good career. Working actor. I like Digby Goes Down a lot.
Yeah,
That was
it's a
one of
good
my
movie.
favorite early 90s, early 2000 New York movies. But she ascended him, and you knew it wasn't going to last. It can't last.
That's
Can't
so
last.
sad.
It is sad.
It's so true, but it's just really
Can't
sad.
last. It's never lasted.
Yeah. Except for like,
When she started out here, it can't last.
Right.
LeBron and Wade in Miami. LeBron ascended. couldn't last. They had to break up. So you buy that rule.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think that it historically is true. I would hope that people would learn from it and learn how to, be able to cope with someone else's successes. Marriage is a long road. Then hopefully people have long careers.
How did Zach Baron deal with it when you became such a massive star?
Oh boy.
You guys have stayed together.
Yeah, so far. Fingers crossed.
I do think it's a death knell, though. I also really like Ryan Phillippe.
Nice.
I actually like him as an actor. I did think he had a specific.
Can we do this now?
Because he could have been in Succession. He could have been one of the brothers.
I think that adult Ryan Phillippe is significantly worse than 20-something Ryan Phillippe.
Are we sure?
I'm
pretty sure.
I was going to say
Based on my Daily Mail reading, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I was going to say this for my nitpicks, but watching this movie last night, I thought to myself, has Ryan Phillippe ever been good in anything?
Wow.
Has he actually ever been good in anything?
All right, let's go.
I think that he is hilarious in this. Does that mean that he's good? I don't know. I think he kind of has no charisma in this movie. He and Reese have literally no chemistry.
None.
It's really, really upsetting. Although I guess it makes sense. They do say that if you have chemistry off screen, then on screen, it doesn't really work.
Awkward.
Though Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie definitively disproved that.
Cruz and Kidman, you could cut the sexual tension with a knife. Those
sex scenes in Far and
my
Away.
God.
But he's so awkward in this entire movie. And he's good when he's supposed to be smarmy, because it seems like he knows how to be smarmy.
That's why he's good, and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Okay.
He was good in that movie.
Okay.
I actually think they're 54, whatever the cut that they decided they couldn't do. I've always wanted to see that movie.
Okay.
Where there's like a bisexual love triangle with him and Breckenmeyer and Selma Hayek.
Right.
But I actually thought he was good in that movie.
Okay.
It just was a bad movie. And then I really liked Igby Goes Down.
He's kind of playing the same thing in Igby Goes Down.
Yeah,
Well,
similar.
Right, so
that's
he
the
can do that.
problem.
Right.
So the mistake he made was he should have been like, could he have been the doctor in ER who
No.
can't settle down?
No,
No?
absolutely not.
You don't think he could have been the guy in what's the show my wife watches on Fox?
The Resident. He could
You
have.
don't think he could have been the lead in The Resident?
No.
I think it's more likely.
What are you talking
Could
about?
have been in The Resident.
He's a better actor than that guy.
But he's not likable.
Hey, Matt Zuckery is great. Come on. Come on. We love him. He's on Gilmore Girls. I have a really unpopular opinion, which I kind of think Ryan Phillippe is good in Crash. I think that's. I think
he is too.
I think he's good.
I like Ryan Phillippe. I'm glad we disagree. I'm glad we disagree.
I guess that's an achievement of sorts, I guess, or maybe it also proves my point. I don't really know. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to raise the question.
Amazing moment. I don't know how we top that for the rest of the pod. I think he's good at Crash.
I'm really sorry.
I can't wait
had to say it.
I'm calling Wesley when we finish the pod and telling him you said that.
Also,
he's gonna be so horrified.
Ludacris, also good in Crash.
Crash. Sandra Bullock was good in Crash.
Let's
No?
move on. Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
Dangerous Liaisons earned $76 million.
Mm-hmm.
Spawned 2 sequels.
Cruel
What do you-
Intentions or Dangerous Liaisons?
I'm sorry, Cruel Intentions.
You just got Michelle Pfeiffer on the brain all the time.
Once you brought her up, that was it for me. Roger Ebert, what do you think he gave this?
Oh my God.
1 out of 4 stars. What do you think? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
1.
2.
3 stars.
Whoa! Oh no, Roger. I don't know if I want to know the rest.
It was smart and merciless in the tradition of the original story.
I guess that's true.
I'm going to make the case. I'm going to flip you on this movie a little bit.
I like this movie.
We think The Sopranos is great, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I already have a problem with this, but keep going.
Tony Soprano, not a great guy.
I'm
Did
in
some
Bill's
horrible
corner.
things.
I'm in Bill's corner.
Okay.
Did some bad things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sebastian did some bad things.
Okay, well, I don't care about him, but
I think they started the anti-hero. Tony Soprano gets the credit. I think it's Sebastian.
this is
Sebastian was our first
great.
anti-hero.
Please don't overlook Catherine.
And Catherine
Yeah, there we
had
go.
a big comeuppance at the end.
Yeah, well, you know.
But Sebastian
So
was
did Tony probably?
Sebastian was redeemable. Catherine was irredeemable,
Agreed.
unredeemable. She does not have a good moment in this movie.
Yes, she does.
What's the moment?
I'm the Marsha fucking Brady of the
That was
Upper
pretty
East
good.
Side, and sometimes I
But
want to
that
kill
was a likable
myself.
moment.
Yeah. Well, the speech that she gives
She's
before
a
that.
bad person.
God forbid that I exude confidence and enjoy sex, and everyone calls her a slut because she's a woman. She's right. She's right.
She's got
It's
some good
true.
lines.
That's fair.
yeah.
By the way, that was an edgy take in 1999.
I know, but
Yeah.
there she was with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
She was
okay.
a bad person, though.
Yeah, no, she
Like,
did
she was
some
just trying
terrible
to
things,
destroy
and
people's lives.
She is not redeemed, and they redeem Sebastian, which frankly says more about like the movie's sex, like gender politics than her. I think.
But
Yeah.
to be fair, that was one of the ways they flipped it from Dangerous Liaisons. She's the Malkovich character, right? Or no, she's the Glenn Close character.
No, she's the Glenn Close character. I was just reading.
So
like,
Sebastian, the Malkovich character?
I think so.
I haven't seen that movie in a long
Me
time.
neither.
I was
It's been a
also
really
just
long
reading
time.
like the plot summary of the original, like the French text that it's based on, and it's very, very close. Like the names, everything. There's a music teacher. It all is pretty much exactly the same, except at the end, Catherine gets smallpox.
I think that this movie is
Well, that's
happens to the best of
you
us.
know.
I also think that his last name is Valmont in this movie.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
Valmont.
And hers is Merteuil.
Merteuil, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is like even more French. Although she says it like without even a hint of a French accent. I think if the sexual stuff wasn't so heavy-handed, it wouldn't be such an absurd movie. But like the two seminal like rubbing up on each other scenes are just so funny that it taints the whole movie.
I think they were funny even in 1999.
They're going for it. It's definitely over the top. I don't
And
know.
also her costumes also like just bring
Amazing.
it to the next level.
Yeah.
But that's another reason I defend this movie is everybody's just going for it the whole movie.
It's self-aware.
Everybody.
I think.
It's very self-aware.
they're
like,
winking.
like
yeah.
Josh Jackson, who we can talk about that character, but he's at least going for it.
Oh, is
He's
he
like-
ever?
He's like, all right, I'm going against type. Going for it.
Yeah.
The appeal of this-
Baranski's going for it. Everyone's going
Mhm.
for it except Louise Fletcher, who I'm not sure why she was in this movie. But for the most part, it's just Selma Blair's going for it.
Susie Kurtz.
This is kind of the problem. Ryan Phillippe only half going for it. And half the time he just kind
Or
of
that's
looks
just who he is.
confused. Well, okay. I'm just saying.
I get the impression that he's like kind of like has a weird chip on his shoulder, despite the fact that he's like really handsome and been successful for a long time. But he just seems like aggrieved to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like his aggrieved status wasn't well represented in this movie. But when he's good, it's because he has like an axe to grind. And for some, he had like too much control in this movie. That's my take.
Okay.
Juliet, you're ready for a whole what part of New York City? Do the whole New York City
Yeah, I'm
that
ready.
neighborhood? I'm
Sure.
going to save that for later
Okay.
for unanswerable questions that are actually answerable.
I just want to throw out there that I actually think that the hyper local one side of the park to the other side of the park was very good. But
Oh, I like what she did. I didn't even know what that meant, but that sounded very professional.
thanks.
Let's
I got
do,
some questions for later.
Okay.
Let's do the categories. Most rewatchable scene. This movie had a surprising amount of rewatchable scenes. Sebastian and Catherine make the bet.
Because I'm the only person you can't have and it kills you.
No way.
You can put it anywhere.
You got yourself a bet, baby.
I mean, a classic.
Sure.
The
Foundational.
You can put it anywhere line, which
Yeah.
is like
Mm-hmm.
we'll get to the ramifications of that with Sarah Michelle Gellar and the history that people had with her leading into that. That scene's really good. They're not quite over the top yet. They're going for it, but the next couple scenes they have after that are pretty bad.
The blue walls are so good in that scene.
I like Reese making faces at Sebastian in the car, but I just like Reese Witherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
She's great.
Yeah.
I love
I just
Reese
genuinely like
Witherspoon
her.
is one of the most important actresses in the world to me.
Yeah.
And I basically don't care about any of her scenes in this movie.
Wow.
I mean, I say that with so much respect, but it's just they fall flat compared to the other stuff.
Mm.
It's not her fault. It's Ryan's fault.
The colorblind Counting Crows escalator scene.
Okay, the colorblind losing her virginity scene. Let's like
Well,
that's what happens.
For me, it stops. I don't like seeing Reese lose her virginity.
Okay.
I like that. I like the escalator part.
I laughed when he was like, "Are you okay?" I was just like, "Oh God."
All right.
I'm impressed. while I'm in love.
Oh my God.
You know I love
Yeah,
corny
no, I do.
exchanges. It's
That was
one of
my favorite
wheelhouses.
scene the first time I saw this movie.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
just like amazing.
Escalator scene's great. She's going up. All of a sudden he's there.
Did you notice that the escalator wasn't moving when she first got on it? Like the first 4 steps, she walks up, and then they change the camera angle, and now the escalator's moving on its own.
Ooh,
And I was like, I guess they had to do a lot of takes, and that's
that
how
could
they
have been a
pieced
good
it together.
nitpick.
My issue is that nothing this romantic has ever happened in Penn Station, nor will it ever happen in Penn Station.
Right.
I just if you've ever been on one of those escalators, like there's going to be no reconciliation at the top of it.
There's some wino lying in front of her.
Yeah.
I like that scene because it's a really cool song choice
Mm-hmm.
for the moment.
Mhm.
But then, I don't know, it's just one of those scenes you can kind of see in your head,
Yeah.
which says something. The breakup scene is intense, and we'll get to the reasons why, but that's the one time he actually acts in this movie in a real way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to make this any clearer to you. You mean nothing to me. You were just a conquest.
You're such a coward. Look at yourself. You're shaking. Is that what you came to tell me?
I'm sorry. I'm completely.
Yeah, you're completely fucked up. Get out.
That scene's good, and that's some good Reese acting. That's you're going to win an Oscar someday.
Yeah.
You're going to win an Oscar for having a fake Southern accent. Catherine double-crossing Sebastian. Pretty solid.
Mhm.
Didn't see it coming. Sebastian writing the letter to Reese with the Amy Mann song playing. It's really strong. Strong soundtrack pick.
I can't believe all your picks are from like the last third of this movie.
Yeah, I like the last third.
Okay.
And then the ending's transcendent, and that's my pick. I love the ending.
It's really good.
The last
ending
5
is
minutes
really
is
good.
really great,
Yeah.
and I
what?
wouldn't change a thing.
Visually memorable, from the headmaster coming out to kind of open the little cocaine cross to Reese driving the car. With
Incredible
Bittersweet
slow
Symphony.
motion.
Yeah.
The shame faces of the people looking up from the diaries and in slow
Yeah.
motion shaking their heads.
I
It's
meant
really
to-
great.
I meant to look this up. Did we get a tiny Jessica Chastain cameo? Was she one of those students? It looked a lot like her.
Oh, wow.
It was
The
like-
age would fit.
And I think
she's my age.
it might have been her. It was like, I was like,
No.
whoa,
Man is looking
I'm
at it.
Googling. I'm not finding it.
damn it. Just looked so much
Yeah.
like
Who's a
her.
lookalike?
Damn. I have another nominee.
Okay.
The pool scene when he's playing the loud music.
Oh, that's good.
bring
and
her
then
into
the
the-
cardigans.
yeah.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
I like the pool scene a lot. Also, I just love the absurdity of him having bought her a swimsuit. Or that's what he hands her, right? Swimsuit? Or is
Yeah.
he? Yeah.
And then she tries it on.
Yeah, she puts it on. I mean, that's like treating her like a hooker, which is fine.
I can't say I've ever wanted to buy anyone I was dating or interested in a swimsuit.
I think you're
That's
hopeful.
fine.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I got you something. I got you a swimsuit.
I'm
I
not
always
hoping
felt like
anyone
that was
gives me
like
one.
specifically people pick that out for
I don't
themselves.
think men can understand how hard it is to find one that really
Yeah.
fits well.
That's true. Though at this point, like I really like going to the beach and I like swimming, and it is hard to find one. So like if my husband and my husband only found like a good swimsuit for me and was like, here, I think you would like this, then I would like it. But it's a pretty specific context.
For your first
No, that's weird.
interaction.
Well, he also gives her does he give her the backpack afterwards?
I think that's before.
Okay.
He gives her a lot of gifts.
Yeah.
I like the backpack. As you both know, I'm a sucker for a monogram. So
Yeah.
Monogram backpack was good.
pretty cool.
Would have mixed in some more jewelry. The ending's the memorable scene
Yeah.
in this movie and the
The-
one that lives on.
The
and,
Coke necklace is just incredible.
And when Craig's generation, producer Craig, when they're judging this movie and shaming it and shaking their head at it,
Yeah.
they can't change how great the last five
Yeah.
minutes are.
That includes when Sarah Michelle Gellar and Reese finally face off in the bathroom.
Just
Because that's
Everything.
great. They aren't really in the movie together.
no.
And then
that's the only
you get
scene
that
they're
moment,
in.
and that's very fun.
And Bittersweet Symphony,
Yeah.
the song of a
Good stuff.
generation.
Good stuff.
I got some good stuff on that. Next category, most 1999 moment possible.
Oh, wow.
You haven't done the rewatchables 99. Yeah, this is a special
Yeah.
99 category.
Yeah.
I narrowed it down to two.
Okay.
The runner-up is the Counting Crows being involved in a pivotal scene
Mm.
of a movie.
And specifically losing your
Feels
virginity.
Very 90s.
Yes.
But the answer is when Sebastian says to Ronald, email is for geeks and pedophiles. That could only have been said in 1999. In 2001, people were like, what are you doing? Or you would have emailed that to somebody.
It's so good.
Great line. Any
Really
other 1998, 9-ish things in this movie that stuck out to you other than the soundtrack?
Sebastian's specific phone, that's a phone that I, only also at that time, phones were still pretty big. So that was like really expensive that he was able to have that.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope. Also, just the fact that Sean Patrick Thomas is in it and like important. He was.
Yeah, he had a
seemed
nice
like he
little
was
late
gonna-
90s run. Yeah.
17 magazine being a pivotal plot
Good one.
point. Yeah.
And then when Christine Baranski says,
Oh, don't give me any of that racist crap. My husband and I gave money to Colin Powell.
I guess that puts me in my place.
That was amazing.
that
Yeah.
was very 1999-ish. So there you go. What's age the best? I'm going to start here because I know I care about this more than either of you or anybody really. Sebastian's car is out of control.
I was wondering how you felt about it.
1956 Jaguar XK 140 Roadster. I don't even think you could drive this car anymore. Because even like in the research I did for the movie, Reese had to drive it. And she said it was like just shaking. Like 1956 in a convertible is like a death machine. They make it seem like the coolest car ever. But any scene that was in it, I was just like, oh. It's like that, like Dylan McKay's Porsche.
Oh my God.
Those, at some point in life, I'm getting one.
Okay.
I don't know when. It's happening.
I support you.
There'll be a little death machine that'll shimmy when I drive. But God, that car's great. Cecile, this is what I like to call Quiet Time, just for the record, because my wife loves this movie more than all of us.
Oh, great.
Quiet Time was a running joke in our house for like 5 years. If I was doing something and she was talking, it's like
Selma Blair is very good.
the Coke cross slow motion when the guy reaches in and pulls the spoon out and he just kind of does the head shake. And
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is the deer in the headlights, like in tears. That like 5 seconds is great. Ryan Reese, Sarah Michelle Gellar versus LeBron, Wade, and Melo. Compare and contrast.
Oh, wow. I think that Ryan Reese
He's Melo.
and yeah,
Ryan's
Ryan
mellow.
Mello, but
He's definitely mellow.
But I think he's more valuable to his squad than Mello is to his. So I go with the actors.
Okay.
I feel like they have more power
Do you like
in their
Sarah
field.
Michelle Gellar as Wade?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And Reese was LeBron.
Yeah. I feel
Reese
like,
is still LeBron.
I feel like Sarah Michelle Gellar is happy to be Wade, just like Wade's happy to be Wade.
Reese and LeBron, Reese starts earlier, but it's 2019. Reese still incredibly relevant. LeBron's still relevant.
They both the transition from like player to management, basically. She's a producer. He's
Yeah.
also a producer doing all this
we
stuff.
both wondered if they could still be a superstar after all these years. They're
They-
still doing it.
Both live in Brentwood.
Big
Both-
Little Lies versus
Yeah.
the Lakers.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah.
parallels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Two of the
great
great
point.
specimens we've had.
So that's a really good point. Also, both committed parents, photographed often with their children.
No competition for what their lanes are.
No, none.
Like who is on Reese's corner in the last 20 years?
I mean, the only people close to it are people she's invited to come over to her corner, like
Right.
the people she works with.
And it's always on Reese's terms.
Similar to LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're with the crew, you're not.
Like LeBron had the occasional rival, like
Mhm.
Drew Barrymore, a little bit on her corner for a little while, but Reese never even acknowledged it or took it seriously. Probably even made a movie with her
Yeah.
at some point. Was Reese ever in a movie with Drew Barrymore?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But they were kind of like both doing the rom-com thing at the same
Right.
time.
Kate Hudson also in the mix, and now Kate Hudson is like trying to do her own lifestyle and
Oh yeah,
act
Kate
like-
Kate Hudson was on her corner for like a second.
yeah, but
Just no competition.
but
Kate
also,
Hudson's
like,
an
there's-
actress.
There's something to be in the signature blonde who can act in
Yeah.
Hollywood. That's like almost like a championship belt. Who's that now?
Signature blonde who can act. Does it have to be an American?
J-Lo? Did
Interesting.
you call her a blonde? No.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Light J-Lo.
Yeah.
Sure.
Light brown hair?
No, I think that she's
you call J-Lo
presenting
blonde?
blonde.
I always thought of her as a brunette. What about Emma Stone?
Really?
She's not a
She's
blonde
not
though.
a blonde.
She's not a natural blonde?
She is a
I think
natural
Jennifer
blonde, but as an
Lawrence
actress,
is
she's not.
probably she's blonde off duty. So
Jennifer Lawrence definitely combined a lot of the stuff we liked about Reese. Where like everybody liked her sense of humor,
Mhm.
tried different roles, and
not as type A as Reese, which is one of the.
but we didn't know about the type A
reasons
Reese
that
forever.
But I did in my heart. You can sense it. You
I
can
didn't
sense
know.
that she's on her shit and she's not suffering fools. And that is, I have known that about Reese Witherspoon since Legally Blonde, and it is why I love her.
I think also Reese Witherspoon. Well, you perhaps you can answer this better, but I feel like Jennifer Lawrence has like a real like sexiness to her that Reese Witherspoon did not have as in the younger stage of her career. and that like also
I disagree.
okay.
But
I
even
just,
in
like,
this
We
movie,
all,
which the
me and all my
camera-
friends loved Reese
the
Witherspoon.
camera is lingering on certain aspects in that pool scene, but she's still not. She's not
She's
the
kinda
sexy
There was a
one.
wholesomeness. I agree. I see
she's
the whole.
kind
There's
of
a
like
wholesomeness.
frumpy in this movie. The way they dress her with the high waisted, like
I mean, it's real. You've got male core for
Yeah.
sure, but I kind of like it.
also very bad
Juliet,
bras.
welcome to
Yes.
the 90s.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was. We should have put that in the 1999 thing.
Way she was dressed.
Yeah, because like 2 years later, things flip.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But this is still the vestige of.
But like even
When-
Selma Blair gets to look like hotter than Reese Witherspoon in this movie. Clothes only.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's on purpose.
that
Yeah.
could have been a which stage the worst. The New York scenes.
I thought they were very good.
Let's go, Juliet.
Well,
Let's have your scouting report of the New York scenes.
he obviously Sebastian and Catherine obviously live on 79th and Central Park West. It's one of the only transverses that like it's called the 79th Street Transverse and it opens onto 79th Street on the east side. Also, that is just like a really famous building. I think it's like the Ukrainian embassy or something like that.
Incredible building.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then I'm pretty sure Reese lives on Central Park West between 82nd and 83rd. So at the end, when they're both like walking in the park, I was like, yeah, that's probably the most convenient way to get to each other's homes. Not that far of a walk.
Mm.
I thought that like all really made sense. It was very much the Upper East Side and then like a little Central Park West. The thing that didn't make sense at all is where the fuck that estate is. What is this, Connecticut? Somewhere like
He says on the island, so I assumed it was somewhere.
I had a lot of
Long
questions about that.
Island?
I
Yeah.
assumed like Greenwich.
it looks like Connecticut. It does not look like Long Island.
It
I
doesn't,
assumed
though.
Greenwich, like Chopin, where they had the giant houses right in the water.
Yeah.
who
But then
knows?
you like Penn Station implies Long Island, and he
Yeah.
also says the island, so I assume it's sort of like Hamptons area.
This would have been a good unanswerable question because I had no idea where that house is.
Yeah.
I would have
yeah.
Could you have said like a Rye maybe or like a Harrison?
Maybe, but the plots of land up there like aren't that big. It's more like Chappaqua. I feel like it's more like that
Mm.
that kind of Chappaqua, Katona, that part of Westchester. But it just didn't make sense. Other thing about the Penn Station thing is why she's going up the escalator and he caught her up there. Like, was she getting off the train where he met her or something?
Yes, but I mean
But
the
where?
timing there. I mean that was definitely like a nitpick situation.
Yeah, that didn't
of-
make any sense.
Yeah, and then he calls Greg.
Right, and he's like, she's getting into Penn Station in 20 minutes,
Yeah,
and
doesn't-
he's like
doesn't make
crossing at I
sense.
think the Queensboro Bridge, and it's like suddenly waiting at Penn Station. No, that's not happening.
If they make that movie now, he's just trying to get an Uber. Like, where is it? And then another What's Age the Best, the soundtrack.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Every You, Every Me. I always like that song. Placebo.
Sure.
Praise You, Fatboy Slim.
mm-hmm.
That one was like, oh right, this song I forgot.
That song was in a couple movies.
It was
I
in
feel
She's
like
All
that.
That.
That was like kind of a movie slut. That
Yeah.
song. Coffee and TV Blur.
Mm.
Bedroom Dancing by Day One, which you would know it if you heard it, but I
Mm-hmm.
never knew that was the title of it. Colorblind Counting Crows. Not on an album, I don't think. I think they just snuck on the Cruel Intentions thing.
Wow.
You Could Make a Killing, Amy Mann. Amy Mann, beloved 90s
and the
musical
Cardigans.
figure.
Don't overlook the Cardigans. Which
That's
are,
not on the soundtrack.
It's not.
No,
I guess
but it's in the
because
movie, not on the
It's
soundtrack.
in the movie, but it's on the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack,
Yeah.
which is like a very 90s
Another
thing.
90s
So,
movie.
yeah, so it's important.
97, right?
Bittersweet Symphony, The Verve.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other songs stick out?
No, I mean I already
That's a-
yelled
that's
about
a
Love
murderer's
Fool,
row.
so yeah.
I
Love-
mean, Bittersweet Symphony is like maybe the song of the decade.
Loveful also had a 90210 run.
Yes, it did. I mean,
Loveful was also available for movies and TV.
I think after
be
902,
licensed.
I mean, after Romeo and Juliet, they just were like riding the wave because
Yeah.
it's such a
I
big
definitely
part of
saw them at an Atlanta version of a Jingle Ball, and I went because of the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack.
I mean, it's just one of the best soundtracks of all time.
Really,
Zoe and I were driving back
Formative.
from San Diego from the soccer tournament, and she has this Pop Rocks playlist that
Sure.
she made from Spotify, and they were Goo Goo Dolls were playing Slide,
yes.
and I was like, Zoe, amazing birthday party in 90210 with the Goo Goo Dolls once. Steve Sanders.
Steve, yeah,
She was like, really? Where was it? She was totally in. I think I can get her to watch 90210
amazing.
now.
I love when Steve dated Claire, and that was they broke up at
Oh,
that
yeah.
party. It was really
That
good.
was a big booking for the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
Cute. Well, they
They
also,
had like 3 songs. Cardigans also were, they played in Peach Pit After Dark.
oh yeah,
Remember?
yes, I do. I think the big.
90210, like a secret music tastemaker.
What about Color Me Bad? That was
Yeah.
that was a great one. They had great music on that
So
show.
what age the best for you? I'm going with the soundtrack. Or Sebastian's car, which I just can't get over how unbelievable that car is.
I think I'll go with the soundtrack too because it is amazing how poorly most 90s soundtracks date. I
Yeah.
mean, with the we were talking about Romeo
We
and
just
Juliet,
did
which is
it
a really
last
important
week
one.
with how Mean Girls, how it just missed this opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
on-
And especially, and as we talked about on that podcast, like the movies that are targeted to young women or to like include young women are often just have the corniest soundtracks in the world, but this nailed it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
that
Soundtrack.
you?
Yeah, soundtrack for sure. Although I will say the real estate's also amazing. Like like all of those homes are just like incredible.
Juliet's my real estate soulmate. She really is.
I love the apartment, the blue walls. I love Selma Blair's apartment too, like all of them, the hardwood. I mean, there's not a carpet to be found in those homes. I loved it.
If we ever had a terrible falling out, I'd have a lot of holes in my heart for things that I wouldn't be able to recapture with anyone else. But real estate would be, nobody really gets the light in their eye with celebrity real estate like you do. The right kind of house.
Every day.
I know you're going to care the most out of anyone in my life.
Can I tell you what that means so much to me, Bill?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I figured it would.
Moments before we did this podcast, I was looking at the new homes of the Vanderpump Rules cast all in the Valley.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, they went all Valley?
They all went to the Valley.
Where'd they go? Like Encino?
North Hollywood and Valley Glen, basically.
Valley Glen. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
What's age the worst? You can't say everything. I'm going to start with Sebastian, who's our hero of the movie, and he's reprehensible morally. But yet, somehow I'm rooting for him by the end, and I don't really know why, which is why I said the Tony Soprano parallel. This ushers in 20
His
years
redemption,
of all right, I hope it works out for you, even though you're bad.
Of all the movies in the world, to say that this ushered in the anti-hero craze.
Oh, yeah. It's first. Prove me wrong.
You're so right.
Prove me wrong.
Okay.
Came out before Sopranos.
Like shortly before.
Yeah. Prove me wrong.
I'm going with Christine Baranski's character, the Mrs. Caldwell. That's just ridiculous. And like, she's so out of touch. I mean, the most ridiculous scene is when Selma Blair like walked in from behind and her hair's all messed up, and she's just like accepts the fact that she was maybe in a different room or something.
She said
ridiculous.
she was shopping.
Yeah, shopping at like 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was probably even earlier than that. That was bad.
I'm gonna go with the homophobia, which
that's quite
Oh, we
bad.
had
like-
more what age the worst.
Okay, well, I'd like to throw that in.
I wrote down Josh Jackson's gay guy character.
Yeah,
very rough.
Yeah. And I think he felt like
He must have known at the time.
I'm pushing the envelope. I'm going to dye my hair and I'm going to introduce the world. In one of the oral histories, he's like bragging about the character.
Oh my God.
He's like, I really was, that was an important character for me. I'm trying to change stereotypes. It's like, what are you talking about?
If Reese had 15 shooting days, he had what? 2? 3?
Oh, no question.
Very, very
They did
few.
catch a white hot Josh Jackson, though. And this is Dawson's Creek's
You don't tell me.
Apex. We'll get to him with Apex Mountain later. The opening scene is Sebastian like horribly internet shaming Tara Reid.
Yeah,
That
I
was-
had forgotten about that until
That's
I
probably you get
rewatched.
kicked out of school and
It's definitely
probably
illegal.
prosecuted.
Yeah, I think that falls under the definition of revenge porn at this point, which, yeah.
So if they remade this movie, it's just over after 6 minutes. He goes to jail,
Yeah.
and that's nothing else happens. The stunt casting of Sarah Michelle Gellar as the bad girl
As a brunette.
as a brunette bad girl has aged badly just because it felt like a much bigger deal in 1999. It was like, whoa, Buffy, what's going on?
But
And that now 20 years later, it doesn't have the same luster.
okay, so it's just lost its.
Just the
it hasn't
impact of
aged
it.
well. Yeah,
It was
okay.
it was almost like Lacey Chabert and Mean Girls, same kind of thing, where it was like part of the gimmick of it was how shocking it was to
Okay.
see somebody in that role.
As long as we're not saying that her performance hasn't aged well, because I think it's tremendous.
I think it's
She's
aged-
great.
I
Yeah.
actually think we could have put her in What Stage the Best.
I think so as well. I think and to that end, and I was watching it, and I was like, wow, I forgot how good she is in this. Like,
do you want to
she's
do
just
this
like,
now? Because I was going to save this.
Okay, well, let's save it. Let's save it.
No, I'm ready to do it now.
Well, but we're in the negative category right now, so let's.
No, but we'll
okay.
spin it to a positive.
Okay.
Unless you have other What's HD worse.
I think the homophobia is hard. It's hard to beat. It's
Yeah.
really bad.
Gregory?
It's
like, is that
really-
accent he has?
It's
What is he
really,
doing?
really bad. And
Yeah.
then like they clearly know in the movie that it's bad too.
So Sarah Michelle Gellar, I'll save it. I'm going to save it.
Okay.
Casting What Ifs.
Yes.
Oh, what do we think aged the worst? The internet shaming of Tara Reid?
And the homophobia. I think together
Okay.
those are. It's just.
Okay.
It's not a great look.
Casting What Ifs. They wanted to play for Annette, Katie Holmes.
Oh, she would have been good in that. Not as good, but that works.
Writer director Roger Cumble didn't think she had enough strength of character for the role. I
Yeah,
don't know
I
what
was
that
just gonna
means.
say that just means she does not have a lot of like charisma,
Little depth,
and a lot of
yeah.
energy. So imagine her and Ryan Phillippe. It would just be like two wet rags trying not to
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else she's like ever been in except for Dawson's Creek and Teaching Mrs. Tingle. Like, what else is she? Oh, and Go.
She was in
Go.
the first Batman, remember? And then she had to quit.
Everyone hated her.
No,
right.
and then no.
Oh, Tom Cruise made her quit?
I still love her.
Allegedly. Yes.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I still like her.
Okay.
Okay.
They
I
wanted,
love her now, by the way, with Jamie Foxx.
for the Selma Blair part, they wanted Brittany Murphy. She wasn't available.
Okay.
Probably a good move. Christine Baranski, her daughters were big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans, and she wanted to impress them, so she took the gig because it was
I
3
always
days
like that
work.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deanne Waiters Award. That's all I have for casting what ifs. Everything
Okay.
else kind of went by the book. Deanne Waiters Award. I thought Christine Baranski was a nominee.
Oh.
She's dialed it up.
I mean, I love her
Selma
at all
Bear's
times.
the nominee.
So,
And your dude, Sean Patrick King. What's his name?
Thomas.
Sean Patrick Thomas.
of Save the Last Dance fame. And also, he's also in She's All That, I believe. I think it's Selma Blair. She's great in this movie.
I'm saving Selma Blair for another category.
Me as well.
Too much?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
same
like
here.
it.
I'm going with Baranski. I like
I'm with
Baranski as the
Baranski as well.
racist New York. I think it just take too close to Juliet, the Baranski character. Maybe she has an aunt or somebody in New York that remind.
My avatar on Slack is Christine Baranski. I would never say anything bad about her.
Half-assed internet research. This movie was originally called Cruel Inventions.
Oh.
Test audiences thought they made it sound like a science fiction film, so they changed it
Okay.
and changed all the stuff around it. Reese took the job, worked on her character's lines with Roger Cumble for a week, and gave the character more depth. Roger Cumble said she was a genius.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Worked on the dialogue, tried to give her a little depth, added a little quirk, some nuances. The scene in which they break up and she hits Ryan Philippe,
Philippi. We'll get there.
unexpected. His reaction was
Oh.
genuine. He was so into the scene right after the cut, he went behind the set and threw up.
Whoa.
Okay.
It got so intense and she really hit him.
Well, they were in
and-
love.
Yeah, and they were in love.
Yeah.
Maybe they were in a fight that day. Who knows? According to the costume designer, Selma Blair's Red Hoodie was supposed to invoke Little Red Riding Hood.
Okay.
Sure.
It's like I don't even remember
Great.
that, but okay.
Did you know that they almost did a TV pilot in 2015, NBC? That they greenlit it?
Yes,
And
because
the character was Sebastian Valmont and Annette Hargrove's son, Bash Casey.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
why that
Bash
gave it-
Casey?
Bash Casey.
I think I only knew that because it's been like knocking around in development for a couple years, and we three have been on a text chain about it at
Okay.
some point. But
Well, Sarah Michelle Gellar reached a deal with producers to reprise her role as Catherine Mitois, and NBC decided not to go through with it. Probably good.
I'm
reason.
so
wise.
happy to hear that.
yeah,
Sarah Michelle Gellar, she doesn't deserve that.
The Kiss won Best Kiss Award at the MTV Movie
I do
Awards.
remember that.
Of
And
course.
Geller said, all I can remember thinking was I could kiss Selma all day. Her skin was so soft. My skin is really sensitive, so when I kiss on camera a lot, it gets raw. There you go.
Okay, Sarah.
That is about as half-assed internet research as I can get, Craig. Selma Blair is 3 to 5 years older than everyone else. Producer Neil Moritz contractually agreed to the film being rated R and nothing less.
Okay.
Had to be rated R. And then he went on to do all the Fast and Furious movies. Guy
Mhm.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
The sex scene in the escalator scene was initially supposed to be the Smashing Pumpkins song To Sheila. And Billy Corgan turned them down because he's always the worst at all times.
Yeah.
He really seems like
He's
he
just
is.
the worst
yeah.
guy. He's just terrible. So he didn't want to be in it. So you
Okay.
dumbass. Toward the end of the film, Catherine tells Ronald, Sean Patrick Thomas, your
Mhm.
guy, that
Why is he my guy now?
you're his guy. Yeah,
Okay.
you like him.
All right, sure.
Sebastian said Sebastian hit her.
Mm-hmm.
They actually filmed the scene of Sebastian hitting her, and they took it out because it didn't fit, and the writers wanted to keep it ambiguous.
Of course it didn't fit. Would have
Right.
made him an
Yeah.
unambiguously bad guy
Yeah.
if he'd
Can't
done
redeem
that.
him like
Yeah.
20
I'm
seconds
just
later.
saying they filmed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can't
Okay.
find it on YouTube.
Can't find this movie, kind of. It's hard to find.
I think everyone's Reese was kind of like, hey, can we get rid of this movie?
Walk away slowly.
Can we, So, Bittersweet Symphony, it uses a sample of the Rolling Stones song The Last Time.
Yes.
Mhm.
The song cost close to $1 million, which was 10% of the budget. They tried 200 other songs in its place, could not figure out what was a better song, and decided to spend 10% of the budget on this song, which I think is the decision that's aged the best in this movie.
I agree with you. So I have a question.
Yeah.
This song, Bittersweet Symphony, came out before the Verve had paid the Rolling Stones. They sued them and everything. So had the Rolling Stones already won that lawsuit when this movie came out? Because I thought that was later.
I think they probably had to get permission from the Rolling Stones.
Oh, because they knew about the
used
sample. Gotcha.
So it cost $1 million.
It was a great decision. It's
Yeah. Great decision.
yeah,
Not working with.
it defines the movie.
And also a big decision that helped them. To Sheila not being used. Whatever the hell that song was.
Never get involved with the Smashing Pumpkins. You can avoid it.
Apex Mountain. Ryan Philippe.
Philippi?
Ryan Philippe.
I don't know, Bill. We've named a lot of other movies in which he was great. So
Crash.
maybe.
Wow.
I think it is his Apex Mountain.
I did too.
I do too.
Because you would have said after this movie that he was going to have a career where he headlined some movies. And he did. They just weren't good movies.
I
He
don't
was
know
a
whether
headliner.
I would have, but yeah.
He was a headliner for a few years.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
He was him and Freddie Prinze Jr. I mean, that's the thing. These two power couples, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and then Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Phillippe. It's like, I don't even know what to compare that
Only
to.
one stayed.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you know why? Because the Freddie Sarah thing was already like this when they started dating, even though Freddie was doing pretty well. But Sarah was always like this. They knew.
I don't even want to bring it up because I don't want to jinx it, but like it's just really heartwarming to me that they're still together. It's
Me
been a
too.
long
Great
time.
Instagrams.
Me too.
Yeah.
Really great. They seem like a really sweet, normal family.
I feel the same way about Amanda and Zach Banner.
Thank you.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Apex Mountain. I'm going to say yes.
Huh.
Well,
Buffy was a phenomenon. This
So,
was the
yeah.
same year she hosted SNL, and she was one of the best
Okay.
SNL hosts of that
Thank
decade.
you so much for bringing it
Yeah.
up. I went to that episode. The
What?
Backstreet Boys were on.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's almost 20 years ago in like 2 weeks.
That was the family dinner episode.
Yes, and David Boreanaz and Seth Green came out.
That was
I
I drive a Dodge Stratus. You went to that
I
episode?
was 13 and I snuck in.
Incredible.
I had to pretend that I was 16. It was like the happiest weekend of my life. Thank you
Incredible.
so much for bringing it up.
Great job. I'm going Apex Mountain because Juliet Sarr,
yeah, agree.
Saturday Night Live,
This
Buffy.
movie and Buffy. Yeah, of course.
Buffy 1999 was about as big as Buffy was going to get, I think. Right?
That sounds right because it
So, like,
starts
3
in
years
97.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's about to have a spin-off. That's usually a sign you have a lot of power. Reese Witherspoon, no way.
No.
Counting Crows, no.
I think that their
I
friends.
wanted to give it to him, but
I think
no.
their friends moment is bigger than this one.
Well, they're putting out that second album and he's dating
Courtney Cox, right?
after he had dated Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
That's got to be Apex Mountain for them.
I was want to say that their music was used a lot on Dawson's Creek around this
It
time.
was.
A lot.
It's really
Mrs. Potter's Lullaby was like huge. I mean, they were very, very much in the mix.
it was extremely formative for a certain type of teen movie TV.
I'm
Consumer.
watching right now with my daughter because she has a playlist of like 25
Yeah.
Counting Crows songs.
Yeah.
I think they'll have a nice long tail,
Great music.
the Crows. This was the Apex Mountain for cocaine crosses, I feel like.
Oh my God.
Never
sure.
seen a better use of a cocaine cross.
I think that's
Have
kind
you?
of
Starring
realistic.
role. Yeah.
I think that's kind of realistic. I saw like a lot of casual cocaine usage when I was like 16,
tell us
17.
more.
I just remember being at parties and like people would just be like doing coke. And I was like, what? What
Are
is
they carrying
this?
it in like a
No.
in a crucifix?
No, but like I just feel like someone
necklace?
would do that.
Sure,
I didn't know a
yeah.
lot of
I mean,
Catholic
someone
people.
would have a flair for the dramatic. That's like quite dramatic.
Yeah.
This movie also predicted the fall of the Catholic Church with all this stuff.
There we go.
And the anti-heroes. I don't have any more Apex Mounts. The Joe Pantoliano Award for best that guy or that girl. I go with Swoozie Kurtz.
I thought you were going to do Selma Blair.
No, that's a different award.
That's for the spotlight they
Saul
knew.
Rubinek they knew award.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right.
This
Wait,
Joey
so what's
Pants.
this one again?
Swoozie Kurtz, the doctor, the therapist at the beginning. She's been in everything.
Sisters
Okay.
was
Not
like my
everyone
favorite
knows
show.
that's Swoozie Kurtz. I know it's Swoozie Kurtz. You know it's Swoozie Kurtz.
Yeah, I mean, she was the star of Sisters, a George Clooney vehicle.
Can't believe.
Sisters is great.
Great
Anytime
show.
that Juliet gets to talk about sisters on a podcast,
great.
we're doing great.
Yeah.
Is it even streaming?
No, of course not.
That's
Just
terrible.
look for James Falconer on YouTube.
The Saul Rubinek they knew
Okay.
award.
Selma
we go.
Blair, yeah.
I think she's terrible at this movie.
I think she's really funny.
She's walking line. I think there are a couple scenes that are very good because, you know, everyone is playing a heightened version of themselves except for Ryan Phillippe, which is why he sucks. But there are just a couple moments where it's like too much. For example, after she learns what an orgasm is, and then Sarah Michelle Gellar leaves the room and she starts being like,
Yeah.
the secret society dance, and it's just like, no. Take it down a notch.
You know what
Take
happened
it
to
down
her?
a notch.
She's like in her mid-20s. She's trying to pretend she's like
Yeah,
16.
yeah.
This is what Liam Neeson's daughter did in Taken. What's her name from Lost? Maggie Grace.
Yeah.
She's playing like a 16-year-old Taken.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like,
Flailing
you don't
limbs.
have control of your appendages and you're just like a weirdo. And I don't know.
Yeah.
16-year-olds aren't really like that. I didn't like her in the movie. So you get outvoted 2-1.
All right, fine. I thought she was funny.
I think that she's like in the picnic scene where they kiss, she's funny.
Yeah.
And like her
think
dynamic
that
with
she's
Sarah
a-
Michelle Gellar it's kind of like screwball and funny, but she just takes it too far a few too many times.
I think she's funny when after she has sex with Sebastian when they're in bed.
And the quiet time.
Quiet time, yeah. It's part of your favorite scene.
I liked her in some scenes. I just thought she dialed it up unnecessarily.
I agree with
Which
you.
is the whole point of this
I
category.
agree with you.
Picking nits, where are the parents in this movie?
Great question. Were they edited out? Were they never cast? Like,
People are
what's
just
going on there?
Sleeping in like Sean Patrick Scott's just in bed with Selma Blair. Like where's everybody?
I don't know.
It's the real question is where are Annette's parents? Because I can believe that
Yeah, because he's
the
the
rich
dean.
kids' parents are like absentee jet
Right.
setting, it's kind of like an exaggerated version of rich city kid life.
Yeah.
But she's writing essays in 17 about how she's going to stay a virgin. And her dad's the headmaster and is supposed to be a full-time educator. And I'm just like, what's happening here? There's no oversight. It's implausible.
By the way, we should have put that in Most 1999 Moment Possible. The essay in a teen magazine about why I'm remaining a virgin.
Oh, yeah.
I said 17 magazine being a plot point.
Oh, but I
Yeah.
mean, going a
Oh,
step
sure.
further. I just
Yeah.
don't feel like that happens in 2019.
Also,
that felt very 1999 YM.
I think
or,
you just would do it online. You would like do it on your Medium page, or you would do it on like Rookie magazine.
But
or-
there's always someone being like, here's my personal essay for attention.
you would
type
just
thing.
do it on Instagram and like a really long
we
caption.
should just run those in the ringer.
You know what else is super 99?
I mean, Haley Baldwin and Justin Bieber just did this
Yeah.
in Vogue. So,
The high end trundle bed, loved that.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
it.
Oh, and in her,
When he opens up the drawer and he's in there, I love
I
that.
almost put it in What Stage the Best, but I didn't want you guys to make fun of me.
The trundle
I
bed?
thought her room was fantastic.
I loved it. Yeah,
I
loved it.
liked everything about it.
Yeah.
It's such a rich person room.
Incredible.
The
Also,
trundle bed is great.
also
Where do you
such-
get trundle beds?
I don't think they're not popular anymore. I always wanted one. They're so great.
It seems like something my son would have, but then he would put like 270 wrestestling figures in it and it would never be used.
They're like not really. They're like super functional, but I've never known anyone who had one to use it as like an extra bed, except for like this occasional sleepover here.
That's
and
a
there.
quick minor nitpick I have. Where does this Sean Patrick Scott go when he leaves the room after he gets found in the trundle bed? He just walks out in his underwear. He's
I
just
don't know.
out in a house with no clothes on.
And well, there's like, and then
No,
are there servants? There's,
He's not in
there's
his
no
house.
Parents. It was,
He's in her house.
Yeah.
Put some
Probably
clothes on,
just trying to
weirdo.
get out of there and then get dressed. I don't know.
Craig, what would you do in that situation?
Oh God,
Put
I'm
the
not
clothes
sure.
on in the room, right?
Yeah, or just grab your pants and run, maybe.
That's what he did.
This movie made Craig so uncomfortable. I think he needs
I
therapy.
watched it an hour ago. I'm still reeling.
Another picky nit. The car accident fight death scene is one of the.
It's
just dumb. It's a real flaw in the movie.
I think you survived that car accident. I think you have significant injuries, but you survived that.
It's so staged.
yeah.
And she's in the thing and she falls and she looks up and there's a cab.
He didn't have enough
coming
time
and
to save her.
It's just so slow.
Camera actually catches him launching himself in front of the cab in order to move the plot forward.
Yeah.
Like he shoves her and then jumps.
Well, I was going to do this for an unanswerable question, but
Okay.
is that like a kind of a half-ass suicide? It seemed like he wanted to get hit by the car. Guess
I mean,
what?
It definitely
You
does.
can move Reese out of the way, but then also get out of the way of the car. He's just like,
It was like just didn't make any sense. The physics of it.
The whole thing fighting next to a highway. Who fights next to a highway? That was ludicrous.
Well, that was in the middle of Central Park.
Yeah.
So that was realistic.
But it's really bad fighting. They look dumb. Right.
That scene's awful.
Yeah.
Also, I just think that's the kind of car accident you see a lot in movies, and the person tends to survive it. Just saying.
Yeah, you got to be hit at about, I would say, 40 and
And
above.
your head has to be hit like with that kind of
Also,
thing too.
you see the car coming, you're going to jump. You're not just going to like.
I agree.
Bad job. Last one. This really bothers me. having seen the ending a lot of times. Why did Reese and Catherine pretend they didn't know each other in the bathroom?
Well, they'd never met.
But they knew each other.
Did they?
I don't think you want to be the one to like admit I know who you are. Sometimes there's a
Yeah.
case where you don't want to like admit
the
that.
They were
Classic Mariah
dating.
Carey.
The stepsister knows the stepbrother's dating.
I guess.
Didn't he have a funeral?
Yeah, we saw him.
Yeah, isn't that
That's like
No, that was
moments
the
later.
school
the
thing.
School
Oh.
memorial.
He didn't have a funeral?
Well, he also has no parents, so maybe there was no one to
Right.
organize the funeral.
He definitely had a funeral.
I don't know.
So Reese didn't go to the funeral?
we don't
The
know.
stepsister definitely went. There's
We
no
don't-
way
do
they
we
didn't
know
meet
that?
before. Why pretend you don't know each other? They definitely.
It's a
Come
girl
on.
thing.
It's a girl thing?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just don't want to. It's like
Mariah
a power
Carey.
play.
I don't know her.
Yeah, when she said that about J Lo.
It was a power play thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you do this in the Ringer bathroom?
Not in the Ringer bathroom, but in other bathrooms
Sure.
throughout life, sure.
Also, I'm
You don't acknowledge it.
I'm
It's
such
not
a
on your
creep.
radar. Yeah.
Wow, this
Yeah.
is great.
I'm such a creep and a
Learning
crazy
stuff
stalker.
all the time.
I always like assume that I have way more information about someone than they do about me, so I have to go in the opposite direction and pretend I know nothing.
And then you Google them frantically.
Well, I
Or
already
check their
have. Is
Facebook.
the point?
Best quote. Oh, you have any more nitpicks or no?
I mean,
Other than this
the
entire
Penn
movie?
Station thing and Ryan Phillippe.
Best
Just
quote.
the concept of Ryan
Yeah.
Phillippe.
Oh, this is typed out wrong.
It's
It was supposed to say, "Where is your gold digging whore of a mother enjoying Bally?" But it's like complete gibberish from my thing. Whatever he says there.
How is your gold-digging whore of a mother enjoying Bali?
She suspects that your impotent, alcoholic father is diddling the maid.
Good.
I enjoyed that. It was like the first insult. Oh, don't give me any of that crap. My husband and I gave money to Colin Powell. Emails for geeks and pedophiles. This is quiet time. I assume you've come here to make arrangements. Unfortunately, I don't fuck losers.
So I assume you've come here to make some arrangements. But unfortunately, I don't fuck losers.
It's a good one.
Incredible.
This sure doesn't taste like an iced tea. It's from Long Island. I like that. I think Quiet Time is the quote of the movie. I don't know how you.
Quiet
I
Time's
guess-
really
I mean, I
funny.
got
Quiet Time's great.
This is what I like to call quiet time. It's the time when we reflect on the things we've just done.
Sorry.
I have to put in I'm the Marsha fucking Brady of the Upper East Side.
Oh yeah.
Do you think I relish the fact that I have to act like Mary Sunshine 24/7 so I can be considered a lady? I'm the Marsha fucking Brady of the Upper East Side, and sometimes I want to kill myself. So there's your psychoanalysis, Dr. Freud. Now tell me.
When
That
that
should've been in
played in, it's like I had forgotten that was in the movie, and then I just automatically joined in chorus with her last night watching it. Like I knew the rhythm and everything. So I think
That
it's a
could have
good
been
one.
for the 1999 section of this, because that's something you wouldn't say now. Because
Marsha,
nobody.
no one knows who.
Craig,
the
who's
Brady Bunch
Marsha
is.
Brady?
I know the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
All
Did you
right,
like
okay.
watch it after school?
You've probably seen the Brady Bunch movie.
Yeah, I've seen the Brady Bunch
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
Does Liz know the Brady Bunch? You think?
Probably not.
There's no way.
No.
She doesn't even know the Brady Bunch movie. She has no pop culture
movie.
reference of
Fun
anything
movie.
403.
Keep on, keep on.
Could this be remade as a 10-episode Netflix show? It would certainly be an interesting attempt. I don't know how, with the theme of this movie, you could do it.
Yeah, but they make irresponsible teen shows all the time, don't they?
Oh wow. Shots fired by
I'm
Amanda.
just saying.
I didn't like that, and neither did Julia.
Okay, what? No, I didn't mean this.
It was
I was
a
talking
solid
about like
on terrible movies that we like, and
No,
you just
I mean like 13 Reasons
Yeah.
Why, which is just like you definitely like did no one think about making that movie, which is about glorifying a teen suicide?
it's a good point.
Interesting to
so-
see how Euphoria goes in that respect.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Euphoria is. I've seen the pilot of Euphoria. It is worse than Cruel Intentions.
Really? I'm
Oh,
excited
yeah.
to watch
In
it.
terms of- Just in terms of teens doing shocking things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say my husband saw the
Yes.
pilot and came home and was like, I feel 85 years old and like we need to, start a support group for the children. Was his review. So I
Well, think how I felt because I have a daughter going
Yeah.
into high school next year, and I live in LA where this whole crazy TV show is being filmed, and it's out of control.
but it's like Skins, right? It's like lots of drugs and
Yeah.
partying.
So if you look at it that
Skins
way,
is a great show.
we
Yeah.
should give Cruel Intentions the same.
I mean, the thing
Benefit
is,
of
though,
the
that
doubt.
they would make a show about drugs before they would make a show about sex.
Sex, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's always been a more taboo subject. That's kind of what's so was appealing about this movie is no one ever talked to teens about sex
True.
or showed them sort of having it. They don't really have
All
it
the
in
other
this.
teen movies are super sexless and
Yes.
and like just very very wholesome essentially.
We should have set that up on the top because the movies that dealt with sex and teens were always horror movies.
Mhm.
And whoever had sex ended up dying during the movie. And
Yeah.
that's just how it went for 20 years.
That's part of the joke of Scream.
Fast Times was like one of the only ones where anybody actually had sex in the movie.
All
And
the
it went
other
terribly.
all the other teen movies from this era, like from like this 5 year, it's like there's just no sex.
Well, except for American Pie,
Right.
which is like not really sex.
Which is
It's more about
after this, right?
Shortly thereafter.
shortly
yeah.
thereafter, but it's of a similar time, though it's not really targeted in the same way or to the same group
Although
of people.
the sex in that movie is basically just him having sex with a pie. and-
Exactly. Right. It's all about boys having sex.
It's not actual sex.
Yeah.
Probably unanswerable questions. Would she really remember Sebastian that fondly, Reese Witherspoon?
They were in love, Bill.
This is the thing, and I should have done this in Picking Nits, but like, does this plan really work for? Does she really fall for this? Because the Annette character is pretty smart, and obviously she
Yeah.
wrote an essay in 17, so she's thinking about it. She's on message. She's aware of her brand, if you will. And then he's like, "Here's a backpack," and I mean, his
The
game is-
monogram goes a long way.
It does go a long way, but he doesn't put in a lot of effort.
She just seems
And
so
then
in
it turns
control.
out there was a bet for her virginity
Yeah.
and that she gave up her virginity and this guy won the bet and then he kind of felt bad after and then
Yeah. She also has like zero reckless moments. Like she doesn't, even when she's like doing something you like might not expect, she's like still in control of herself and the situation. So it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
then he reads the whole diary of all the other terrible things
Well-
he did. She's like, you know what? This is my guy.
Original
Because he
burn book.
realized these 45 things were terrible.
Yeah. It looked like the burn book with the pictures and like a tagline. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize this was some inspo. Cool.
We should get rid of the Ringer burn book that we made.
That's a good idea before someone
We should
finds
burn
it.
that one.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't want anyone to
We'll make
find
sure
it.
to put our own entries in first, though.
Are we sure Sebastian didn't create the anti-hero? We already did that. And I don't have any other answerable questions. I have nothing else to say about this movie.
I
do think it's an important 1999 movie, though.
It's
And it feels like
definitely
it
an
belongs
artifact.
to that year.
Right.
It dips into these actors that became relevant for various reasons.
Yeah.
And has a specific feel.
Right. I think Andrew Gododero wrote a great piece about it for The Ringer.
Yeah.
And his theory was basically that this movie kind of took the teen movie wave that was going through the 90s and kind of pushed it to its limits where then it kind of basically broke the teen movie.
Mm.
And there are a bunch of teen movies that come out in 1999, but after that, Cruel Intentions just kind of sets the peak of like how far you can go and how much you can push the envelope and what people are willing to see. And they do kind of die off for a while. And when they come back, they're a lot more earnest. And it's interesting. It is 1999. And because it was like so much, it was the peak of which is the theme we've been talking about with these movies, right? That the 1999 was like the most of everything movie year. And it was the most
Right.
teen movie, so much so that it kind of ended that wave.
And it also tapped into just this kind of pre-internet life that even though the internet was there, it wasn't 100% there yet. And renting movies and sneaking into the movies was still really, really hugely important, especially if you're in high school or 8th grade, 9th grade. Like you went to the movies. It was what you did. Now there's more things to do.
If you cast like 4 really popular teen stars right now and put this movie on Netflix, like it was like just coming out for the first time, I think it'd be super popular because the meme potential is like just out of control.
Certainly, and it would be a sensation. And I
Yeah.
think all of the young people, if you're 14, you definitely still want to watch this movie. I think even now, even though certain parts of it are really
So
outdated.
Noah Centineo.
I feel like I was just thinking like who is like a bad, because Ryan Phillippe was like kind of like the bad guy already because he was like loose cannon.
What
and
about
I know
the
you
guy
did
with
last
the hair
summer.
from Stranger Things?
Charlie Heaton or Finn Wolfhard?
So
No, Steve?
Finn
Oh,
Wolfhard.
Steve. His name is Joe something. Joe Carey or something like that.
Yeah, but he might not be a teen. He's probably
I think
like,
Charlie Heaton would actually, the British guy who also like wasn't allowed in the country at one point because he had caught with cocaine. Like he could be good in this movie. Just throwing it out there.
I had one more unanswerable question. I hesitate to bring it up.
Oh, wow.
Was Sebastian secretly eventually going to be gay? Seemed to have real disdain for women, mistreated them, was most comfortable around his gay friend. Maybe he was just in denial until his late 20s.
I don't think we could say.
Yeah.
That's why it's unanswerable.
Okay. I think I don't know. I mean, he's clearly not comfortable with himself.
Yeah.
Because he has contempt for
Kept a
everyone.
diary.
Other than that, so I don't really know what is going on with him, though I think his therapist would probably have some ideas and
Needs a new therapist now.
yeah. I mean, I think he's just
Do him and Josh Jackson's character make out over the next 5 years if he doesn't get hit by a car in a very strange car accident? I'm going to say yeah.
I could see that happening.
Who won the
Everyone
movie?
Experiments.
for me, it's Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I agree.
I 1000% agree.
She's transcendent.
I don't know if
in
I
this.
would have agreed 10 years ago to that.
I think also her costumes are like just from a separate movie than literally everyone else. But I feel like they give her power. It's like armor. She just wears them really well. All those bustiers and everything.
Well, the thing with her, she's tiny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie doesn't make her seem tiny. It always makes
She's
it seem like
imposing.
she's this imposing adult villain. And yeah, in everything else, she's just this little adorable. You know, they used it to her advantage in Buffy the other way, where
Right.
her size was actually part of what made Buffy kind of cool.
Also, I'm just so used to seeing her with Freddie Prinze Jr., who I think is tall by Hollywood standards. So she like often looks small next to him.
Yes, that is true.
But I think she's the only person where she's making the script work for her rather than the other way around.
Oh, this leads me to the question I wanted to bring up that we never got to.
Mm-hmm.
And we can end on this. I feel like her career should have been bigger. What happened? She's a
don't know.
really good actress.
She is really good.
Like,
I don't know.
Why Reese and not her?
I think so much of it is the roles that you pick afterwards. And she just didn't. She stayed on TV, first of all. She didn't really go to do movies for a while.
Right.
She might have stayed on TV maybe 2 years too long.
I think she got pigeonholed by Buffy.
Yeah, which that's true. You have success early and you're
But
so
Buffy
definable.
Buffy was a beloved show, but it wasn't like a phenomenon. Do you
Yeah,
think it was
but,
a phenomenon?
I mean, that's kind of the tough spot, right? Because if it's a phenomenon, then people are like, oh, we need you to be in our movie so everyone will come see it. But
A lot of the teen stars from the 90s also couldn't break out of it. Like if you go back and look at the other teen movies like Barry Watson, even Jessica Biel, like of the the WB stars,
Mhm.
very few of them were able to have a good movie career. Like very few. Michelle Williams is kind of like obviously the apex of that. But most of them were stuck in TV and they couldn't get away from the kind of like good girl, good guy image.
I'm going the other way. I think, but just bad choices.
Okay.
Harvard Man 2001. Scooby-Doo in 2002, which by the way, I'm sure she made a ton of money on that. God bless it.
They did two of those.
The best and most successful thing she did movie-wise was The Grudge 2004 and then The Grudge 2 in 2006.
But like, why did no one cast her in a rom-com? Like, where was her rom-com
Yeah,
phase?
where was her like Sweet Home Alabama?
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing where you do too many teen movies and then you're associated like
Yeah.
in the teen zone. That's why I think
That's
it's
why
good.
Reese avoided it.
Reese avoided it by not doing Scream because and it really does take a lot to level up from teen star to adult star. You do too much of that and people think of you as like the teeny bopper forever.
Jennifer Love Hewitt couldn't break out of it.
Yeah.
But she was also too famous to like join ER in season 7.
Was she? John Stamos did it. He was really famous.
John Stamos was on ER.
Oh, yes.
I don't remember that.
For several years.
Really?
Yes.
Stamos?
Yes.
Don't remember that. Got anything else, Amanda?
Just really love Sarah Michelle Gellar. Respect to Reese. Reese continues to be an important guiding force in my life. But I just think Sarah Michelle Gellar is great in this movie. She had more to work with.
Amanda loved the New York. You're beaming after that. I mean, Juliet loved she's kind of beaming the New York
Yeah,
real
It's really
estate.
hot in here.
Yeah.
And it's hot in here.
I love the New York real estate. It's true.
All right. The Rewatchables 1999 presented by Luminary Media. Thank you for listening. We will be back next week. Me and Joe House are doing Big Daddy.
Great movie.
That's going to be, Craig's fired up for that
Yeah.
one.
Great movie.
We're both going to watch it with our sons this week and then
Wow.
report back as part of the
That's
movie.
special.
But that's
Your son is
my
going to,
second favorite Adam Sandler movie, I think.
behind Just Go With It. Me too. Your,
Oh, just go with it.
your son's going to love when they throw the sticks in front of the rollerbladers.
Well, you know, he's seen it multiple times.
Oh, okay. Does he love-
Sandler's a god in our movie.
Does he
in our
love that
house.
scene?
Yeah, he loves Big Daddy.
It's
but
a
we're
great
going to watch it
movie.
one more time.
Beep. Beep up.
Thanks for listening to the Rewatchables 1999. Don't forget to check out the Ringer Podcast Network as well. We'll see you next week.